The first phase being understanding the business requirement. Right? I've divided into 8 stages, and the first step out of that is understanding the business requirement. See, this is the initial stage where business goal or objectives are defined. It usually involves multiple stakeholders, the customers, the solution architects, and the technical teams. In this stage, you set the expectation, determine the solution feasibility, define success metrics, and design the blueprint. And according to me, this is the most important stage for any machine learning or machine learning operation, because if you have not figured out what does your customer want, whatever happens after, whatever the customer wants, whatever the business wants, whatever happens after that is a waste of time. I have C-suite executives come to me and say, oh, we want to find needle in the haystack. What can we find from the data and what can you deliver to the customers? And in my mind, I'm thinking, you don't know what you're talking about because you're starting from the wrong end. You have to start from the top. You have to start from the business requirement and then go deep into uh, um, how do we provide that to the business. This is the stage which also involves searching the appropriate input data and kind of models that are to be tried for that kind of data. So this feasibility study, this understanding of what we are doing and how we are doing is supposed to happen in stage number 1, called understanding the business requirement. Second one is, Abhishek, I don't know if everybody else can see it. I can't see the visual.
I
You
have
think?
enabled the screen sharing. I'm assuming at this point that the audience is able to see. Um,
We can see
I-
the visual, Vishal. Yeah,
Okay, awesome.
yeah.
All
thanks,
right, great.
thanks, thanks.
Okay, awesome. So the second stage is exploratory data analysis, EDA. It refers to the process of performing initial investigation on data, so as to cover patterns, spot anomalies, to test hypotheses, and to check assumptions with the help of summary statistics or graphical representations. So that's our stage number 2. Stage 3 is data preparation. This is where your data engineers come into picture. Data preparation involves gathering, formatting, cleaning, and storing the data as needed. This also includes the task of feature engineering and then selecting the set of features that contribute to the output of the underlying problem. The important aspect in this stage is a complete pipeline which needs to be designed and coded to produce clean and compatible data to be fed to the next stage for model development. And this is also the stage where it is important part to identify what kind of architecture, what kind of pipeline you're going to use, which is going to be effective and high in performance for you, and also is going to be cost effective. So very important stage of data preparation before we go into the model training, because we need to make some decisions at this point. Stage number
Very
4, model training. So as soon as the data is prepared, you move on to the next stage of training your ML model. Since ML solutions are heavily research based, ample experimentation is needed to obtain the optimal route. The initial phase of training needs to be iterative with bunch of different types of models with different types of data and parameters. This is the stage where we'll be narrowing down to the best solution using several quantitative measures like accuracy, precision, and recall. Just highlight one small portion here. The part here is this is the stage where data scientists kind of face big challenge of model reproducibility. Hence, we need to make sure that there needs to be proper focus on tracking the model lineage, model versions, model managing model artifacts, and making sure that their transitions, as the transitions happen through the various life cycle. So model training is a critical component and critical stage of what we are trying to achieve. The fifth stage is model validation. ML model is trained on historical data and needs to be tested on unseen data to check the model stability. The model needs to perform well in the validation stage before we make sure that it's ready for deployment. Stage 6 is our model deployment. This is a stage where locally developed solution is launched on the production server so it can reach to the actual customers. This
Mhm.
is where this is where the deployment and development teams collaborate to execute this launch. There are mainly two ways of deploying an ML model. A, static deployment. Deployment is where the model is packaged into an installable application software and then deployed. This is used this is used probably where we want to use batch scoring of request. The second one, obviously, is dynamic deployment, where the model is deployed using a web framework and is offered as an API endpoint that responds to the user request. And this dynamic deployment we can do in different modes, deploying it as a server, deploying in a container, or a serverless deployment. So that's our model deployment. After the model deployment, our stage 7 is model monitoring. Creating and deploying a solution is not the end of the service, especially in the case of ML side. Models, as I said, are trained on local and past data. It is crucial to examine how they perform on the new and unseen data. This is the stage where the stability and success of the solution are actually established. Actively monitoring the quality of model in production will allow our systems to detect the performance degradation which we talked about. This will also act as a cue that 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 will let us know that the iterative experimentation and retraining of model has to be done. There, in this stage, we also need to make sure that there is an ability to configure a threshold value for the business business metrics which we initially talked about. If a threshold value is crossed, the platform shall raise alerts for notifying the ops teams to investigate what is going on and possibly work with the data scientists to trigger the retraining of the model. So model monitoring is, if you ask me, is one of the core of MLOps stages, because if you're not focused on that, then the value which you're able to provide to the business in the beginning will deteriorate very quickly, and then that is not a good thing. And see, the impact of that varies. If you are in my previous example, if you're able to show a movie selection which is not as per the liking of the customer, it is okay. The world will not stop existing. But there are certain complicated cases where, for example, if you're detecting fraud, and if you are not able to do that because you have not properly done the monitoring, then hence, and you're working on a degraded system, that is not a good thing. So monitoring and ability to understand when is the right time to retrain is very critical in this world, in this ML ops. The last phase is retraining the model. Model retraining is an unavoidable stage, as we talked about, they're because the models are heavily dependent on data, and the data trends change with time. So efficient model training helps to keep the solution relevant and saves the cost of recreating new solutions. So I think these, according to me, are the important stages, right from making sure that we understand the business problem and making sure the models which we have created and we are after passing through all the stages are able to provide the right value, are able to meet the right matrix which we generated in stage number 1.